Hey everybody, Denobi Tui here. Thank you for joining me once again on a audio podcast. I got my buddy John Boy all the way from the East Coast joining me. Say hello, Mr. John.
Hello, how is everyone doing out there on this fine night?
Absolutely. Look at that. We're a few days away from Halloween.
Yes, happy early Halloween, everyone.
Absolutely. Our Halloween audio podcast adventure. We're going to talk about Halloween monster toys. Movie maniacs, McFarlane, back in the news.
Yes, your buddy McFarlane, Todd McFarlane.
Ugh, what have I said about McFarlane? Let it die.
Yeah, you want to let it die. Just let him die.
He wants to come back. He wants to come back and relive the glory days. I say let it die. He had his run. He had his shot. He blew it. Let it burn.
Yeah, but you know Todd McFarlane, he always has to throw something in there that's really not good. Not good. But, you know, I don't know what his whole idea is. I don't know.
He wants to take advantage of this next-gen renaissance of horror that we're going through, right? I think it's a crowded market.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think he can make it. If you don't have the license, you don't have it.
He claims he can. I read some of the articles online. He says he can get it, but it's a crazy. He's going up against NECA.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're not.
Yeah. He now it's very interesting though. He wants to go. While NECA's going to the right, he wants to go to the left. He wants to make monsters based on Cabin in the Woods, A Quiet Place, The Mist, Attack the Block. It's interesting. It's not the same cookie cutter Predator, the clown It that NECA seems to be sticking with. He wants to go in a different direction. So his is basically monster orientated. Yeah, and well, he wants to. See, I thought it was a joke. I was totally against it until he wants to make a monster based on that film, the Witch, and he wants to do things on Krampus. It's like, okay, NECA isn't doing any of this, so I thought it was crowded. Maybe it's not crowded after all. Maybe there is room for these two giants to kind of play in the monster sandbox or monster or horror sandbox.
No, there's not. No, you're just delusional. No, there's not. No, here's the thing. There's two things.
Okay.
First of all, you have to have the licensing. Okay, fine. You have Krampus, whatever. Whatever. Okay, no. Okay, and what was the other ones? A Quiet Place?
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. This is the movies he wants to do. I don't know if he has the license for this stuff. But he wants to do A Quiet Place. He wants to do... This is his wish list. I should be very specific to the audience. This is his wish list. He wants to do things on The Witch, Krampus, Cabin in the Woods, A Quiet Place, The Mist, Attack the Block. These are films that right now NECA does not have access to. So at first I was like, oh, he's dreaming. But if he's able to get the license to these films, I'm interested in looking to see what he's able to come up with now.
Well, but it's not going to work because you figure The Mist, all the creatures were huge in The Mist. What are you going to do? One of the spiders?
That's right. The Mist was the portal into our world. That's right. Okay.
With all the tentacles. So, okay, Cabin in the Woods, I can understand. There was a lot of creatures in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Great, fine. A Quiet Place, yeah, it was the creature in the woods. Yeah, okay, fine. But Krampus, okay, it's a monster. It's a one show. It's a one out.
No, wait a minute, though. There was a lot of monsters in Krampus. It wasn't just Krampus, though. Remember, he had the trolls. He had that.
If you're doing the toys,
yeah.
If you're doing the toys as well, yes.
Okay.
If you're doing the toys as well, yes. The Witch, what are you going to do? The goat?
It would be the goat, right? I guess so.
I guess so.
Or would it be the girl? Or would it be the girl in her final transformation as the witch? That.
What, wasn't she naked?
Oh, she was.
What's an upgrade? No, but you have to have the license. Like I said, two things. Gotta have the licensing, okay? And number two is you're not going to compete with an ultimate figure that NECA puts out. You're just not going to.
Okay. He's full. McFarlane is very wishful thinking. He's fed the audience a lot of promises in the past, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. Great, McFarlane. You want to do stuff on Insidious, The Conjuring, Cabin in the Woods, A Quiet Place. Great. That's all fine and dandy if you're able to get the license. We don't know if he has the license. He had a great run in the 90s, early 2000s. He also, I'm reading this too, he also wants to do the Twisted Maniacs too.
Not again. Not again. McFarlane's just looking, he's just looking to break into something new.
Is he desperate, do you think? Do you think it's an act of desperation?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, his video game figures sell. You know, people have been running out for those Call of Duty figures. You know, yeah, they sell. I don't know much for the Star Trek. I have not seen them out.
Okay.
My thing is this, if you're not going to put them in big box retailers, like your other stuff, they're not going to sell. Mm. I mean, at least NECA has Target. You know, NECA has Target now that everyone seems to be buying. So, you know, if you don't have for him to bring out these properties, I would have thought NECA would have went for the licensing for them already and didn't get it. So what makes you think he's going to get them?
Yeah. It takes money. These licenses are not cheap. These are very expensive. Right. Back in the day, his most popular licenses that he held, I'm reading here, he did Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, RoboCop, Edward Scissorhands, Escape from L.A., Predator, and King Kong. He did King Kong?
Yes, the big one. Yeah, I still have him. The one on the chains. The one on the, yeah. Yep. Awesome figure. But if you remember back then, though, licensing was cheap because these studios didn't think that people would buy them.
Absolutely. It was a different time. It was a different era. And there is big business in action figures now. I mean, we live in an era where a 12-inch action figure can cost several $100s. That did not exist in the 90s. So it is a completely different playground now. That's why I'll believe it. That's why I told you. I'll believe it when I see it. I think you might as well call McFarlane Mysterio because it's all smoke and mirrors with him, right? I mean,
listen, I give the man credit because he did start something new back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, the 6-inch figure. The whole idea of the movie horror genre that no one thought people would have. No one thought they'd ever get an Ash. No one thought they'd ever get a Freddy. And it sold. And people loved it. He just failed with it. Yeah. And then NECA picked up the ball with it.
Yeah. He got sidetracked. He was on a roll.
Yeah, he was. Until he got into Alien vs. Predator, and then it went down the hill.
When did he go into sports and just blew off half of the... I mean, he insulted half of the community, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he did that with the sports, and then he had his own twisted stuff. Oh, well, let's do Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
let's do Alice in Wonderland. Yeah. Let's do Christmas stuff. And yeah, you put your own spin on it. Let's do the Universal Monsters. Let's do this. Okay, fine. Great, that's great. But, you know, a lot of people don't share your twisted mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't think that stuff looks good. And then the articulation wasn't there. And, you know, what do you have?
Do you think he was untouchable? Do you think he felt he was untouchable at the time? Because you're right. Wizard of Oz Twisted, I mean, it was Dorothy, rated, you know, it was XXX Dorothy.
Yes.
It was,
yeah, you remember that, yeah.
I look at it now, and I'm like, ugh. I didn't...
Well... They don't hold up. I mean, if you look at them now, the less articulation, you know, they just don't hold up, and that was a bad thing for him. They just didn't hold up.
I didn't think they were that impressive at the time. To me, at the time, it was. I remember one movie maniac that blew me away. It was from The Fly. Holy shit! That was such a phenomenal piece. The Fly.
And the ones he did from The Thing, too.
The ones he did... Yeah, that was some good stuff back in the day. We had never seen anything like that before.
No, and you never have after. Yeah. I mean, they've never went back to those licenses.
Yeah, The Fly. God, he knocked it out of the park. All he needed to do was to make the pods, the telepods.
Oh, and that would have been set. Nice.
Can you imagine?
Light sound telepods, oh yeah.
That would have been great. Yeah, and he did The Thing.
And you figure you could have done a Jeff Goldblum figure that he goes in as the Fly and comes out as Ian Malcolm.
Oh. Well, welcome to Jurassic World.
Yeah, without the shirt.
Without the shirt.
Without the shirt. But no, he had it going on. But did they hike the license up for him? Because his biggest thing was, if you remember, towards that middle part, his thing was licensing is costing too much now.
Well, everybody's bitching about licensing. That's all everybody does now. We can't do this because it's too expensive. It just seems like it's not just him; it's everybody now. It seems like it's speaking of everybody complaining. Isn't that the same issue with NECA? I mean,
yes. Yeah, if you go on Twitter and you go on if you are subscribed to NECA, every day people ask him, "Hey, can we see monsters from this movie? Can we see?" And he's always saying, Randy Falk is always saying, "Oh, it's the licensing. No. It's the licensing. It's the licensing." Well, you're going to stay stagnant then if it's not.
Yeah.
If you can't get a licensing, then you're going to be what? 7 Jasons in, 7 Freddys in, Aliens or Predators.
Well, they seem to invest money into a couple licenses, and then they go all out, squeezing every single drop, like the clown, the It. So they're it's not a well, I guess it is a re-release. They're re-releasing the It from the 2017 film with new head sculpts now, right? But it's the same bodies.
It looked to me like it was the same body. Yeah, this will be the third one they've done. Because if you remember, the GameStop one was an exclusive.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right.
So what they're doing is they're milking it. What's funny though is if they can't, people saying, "Oh, well, let's make the Losers Club." They don't have the rights to it. Well, wait a minute, you have the rights to the movie, but you can't produce the kids. Nope. We can only do Pennywise.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay. Yeah, because people have been wanting that. Oh, how about the Loser Squad? No, we can't do it.
Oh, I did not know that. No, I did not know that. It looks cool. I mean, I'm not buying it. I enjoyed the movie. You know.
To me, that's milking the cow. I mean, you're throwing something out. You know that you could put in an accessory pack or something. I mean, they're known for accessory packs. Yeah. You know, they've done the Freddy, they've done the Jason. Do a Pennywise one then. I mean, don't make another figure that everyone has now. Yeah. You know, because some of the heads look good. I mean...
No, the head sculpt... I'm not knocking the sculpting. The sculpting looks pretty good. They are including multiple versions of the clown, but you can't deny that it does feel that they are milking it. They are milking the clown, yeah. Yeah. And we did get... Now, how many versions of the Tim Curry version did we get? We just got one,
Just
right?
the one.
Okay.
Well, if you remember that, if you've done research on that, remember NECA said that they're losing money on that. That was just a piece for the fans, and that everyone they're losing money on.
Okay.
So, okay.
I don't know. NECA is such a hit or miss. I will say that they did release the pre-order for their... Street Scene diorama set, an alternate version, which I thought I remember that was my biggest gripe with them. So they earned a few points with me on that. I did pre-order that on Big Bad Toy Store. I did pre-order the Street Scene diorama because I thought that was one of their golden gems. I felt as action figure toy collectors, I think that's a missed opportunity. I think more toy companies need to focus on sets and dioramas and such.
Definitely. Forget the Build-A-Figures, do sets.
Yeah. So
it enhances the figure.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of, I mean, since they're in Targets now, it'd be kind of cool to kind of see that type of expanded merchandise on the shelves. But I get it. I understand that space is limited and they need to stock the Target shelves with their heavy hitters. So it's just unfortunate the heavy hitters that are on the shelves at my Target just don't do it for me. I don't want another. Oh, this is an Ultimate Predator. This is another version of it. No, Gizmo. No, I don't want Giz. I know that's just.
Yeah, but see, for you, yes, because you're not into the horror genre as much as people are. But in actuality, it's just one of those things that. You can't survive.
So you're saying so you're saying you're happy with their current selection of heavy hitters at Target then is what you're saying.
Yeah, because you figure A, you can't get you could only got them at Toys R Us before.
Yeah.
And B, you know, that's what you have out there for horror. There's no other people, no other licenses. So what they have is what they have. I think, to be personally honest with you, the ultimate versions of stuff is awesome. You get the original movie poster. It's designed well. You know, you got your figures inside with all these accessories. Mm-hmm. It's the same. I mean, like, they have the license for the new Halloween movie. Okay, with the Michael Myers movie. That's really good. But they don't have the licensing for the old ones. And they only have the licensing for him. They don't have the license for Laurie Strode. And people are asking, hey, can we get a Laurie Strode? No licensing. Well, how do you get the license for one person if you have the license for the film? It don't make sense. So everyone who's hoping for a Michael from each film, because the masks change, the accessories change, it's like Jason and Freddy they do, they're not going to get it. So, okay, so what is the end game? What is the future for your company if you can't get the licensing for these films? Yeah. Right? You're always doing constant Aliens versus Predator. Yeah. The jellyfish Predator.
No, that was one of my biggest complaints with NECA and Interstellar. They tend to half-ass it. I mean, that's my impression of NECA. Yeah,
They should have went more with the regular sculpted figures than the retro. And like you said, I wanted to see the robot. You know, I wanted to see the robot.
I wanted to see Tar's robot. Yeah, I felt that was a missed opportunity with the Interstellar line. They made the guy and the girl. I can't think of their names right now, but I wanted to see the robot. I wanted to see Tar's. He played a pivotal role in the film, and it was half-assed. They had the license for Blade Runner. Why didn't they make Decker from the original Blade Runner movie?
Because they don't have the license for the original. They only had the license for that one. And see, that's where they kill it, because no one wants that one. They want the original. Yeah. They want the set from the original. That's what they want on their shelf. Yeah. And it's the same thing with these other things. Like I said, hey man, I love NECA. I really do. And I've got back into it.
I know you do. I know you do. Yeah.
And I'm really into it. The thing that kills it is the licensing. It's just you don't have the stuff that I want as an action figure in the horror line.
In the horror line, yeah.
You know, and back in the day, they took risks. You know, do you think back in the day McFarlane said, well, will anyone buy the Fly? Will anyone buy the Thing figures? Yeah. Let's take that risk. Yeah. Their movies, let's take that risk.
It was impressive. It came with an action figure stand. It came with a little movie poster. It was a very well sculpted figure for its day, and the price point was there. It was very competitive.
And to put it out there to people, we're not bashing these people. You know, like McFarlane and Randy Funk and them, they're creators, and it's great. Anyone out there who can create a figure or create a line or can create anything, that's great. You guys are awesome. It's just the idea of where we're going in this action figure market today. Am I
right? That's how I feel. I feel we are living in a superhero renaissance age of action figure collecting, and it's a fierce competitive market there right now, especially since we're going into the first Christmas without Toys R Us.
Yes.
And that's devastating. That's it. As a toy company, you have to step up your game. Hasbro posted losses. Is posting losses because a majority of their products were sold at Toys R Us. So yeah, I get it with NECA. I totally get it that they have to put their heavy hitters on the Target shelves and the stuff that'll sell. Maybe I guess I can be sympathetic that they can't take a chance. Maybe is that what it is? But it sounds like McFarlane wants to take a chance. But again, with McFarlane, I'll believe it when I see it. I just because again, he is smoke and mirrors. He's he tends to talk the talk, but he doesn't seem to walk the walk, though. That's the thing with McFarlane. So,
plus, we all know McFarlane. If it doesn't sell, he doesn't keep going with it. Yeah. If the line don't go, well, we're done. Well, if I'm only going to get one mist figure, well, what? Yeah. What? Huh? People aren't going to know what it looks like when they see it on the shelf. Yeah. Am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. NECA does some really great 1/4 scale action figures, those large action figures. Unfortunately, because of the space these things take, they're only available through online retailers and stuff like that. I think collectors need to visually see it for its quality and hold it in its hand. NECA is it's hard for me. NECA needs to be held in its hand. It needs to be just because most collectors like you and I, we are experienced. We know the quality issues that that NECA has, and same thing for McFarlane too. You know, it's hard to kind of pre-order some of this stuff. Trust in them. What's that expression? It's like they're asking you to take a leap of faith in pre-ordering some of their stuff. Like, no, I don't.
Stuff, yes.
Yeah, I was like, I don't trust you, NECA. I need to kind of see this in person before I buy it because I don't trust you.
Now, I have a question for you. Do you think in the future, you think the NECA real estate at Target will get bigger, or do you think they'll take it away?
I think
basically what you see.
I think that's what you'll see for the next several years until they prove their worth. It's no big secret that Walmart and Target they've announced to their shareholders that they're going to be expanding their toy aisles to accommodate the loss of Toys R Us. NECA is a niche product, and it'll stay in that entertainment section for now. I don't think it'll be welcomed. You can't place a scary It clown figure next to a multiverse action figure. That just doesn't work. All right.
So you think they'll have like a collector's aisle?
And they may. I think their Target is just testing the waters right now as to their placement in the store. I really do. It's just too early to tell. Again, we're going into uncharted territories in the toy retail landscape. We're going into first Christmas without Toys R Us. Who knows? I mean, it's unknown. It's the undiscovered country. Right? Speaking of horrors, what type of what would you want to see as far as a horror villain? I mean, would you want to see a Frankenstein, or a Dracula, or a Wolfman? I mean, can those vintage monster horror even hold up in today's world?
Well, they've done them so many times.
Okay.
They've done them so many times. I think what holds up more is licensing from movies that are like, you're like, oh my god, like that are one shots.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, one of the scariest movies for me, and this is going to sound stupid, but if a lot of you people out there are listening, Poltergeist to me is one of the scariest movies.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I've seen Halloween. I saw The Exorcist, and they were good. But to me, Poltergeist is scary. If you were to do an Ultimate Reverend Cain from the second Poltergeist movie, it would be friggin' phenomenal.
That's an awesome wish list. Oh, that's pretty damn good. Yeah.
Or Carol Ann with the TV set with the hand coming out of the TV set. If you were to do something like that, that would sell.
I thought McFarlane did Poltergeist. He did.
No, never did.
Okay.
Never did. Poltergeist is one of those things they never touched. You know, but there's people, there's Leprechaun, Candyman, there's movies out there that people want, and it's a one-shot figure. A lot of people want the heroes from them that they've never done. You know, you've never seen an original Laurie Strode. You've never seen like Brendan Fraser from The Mummy done right.
Yeah.
I mean, Hugh Jackman from Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, yeah.
I mean, you could do one-up figures, you know, from these films as the heroes. I mean, the only one they have really is Ash from Army of Darkness and Evil Dead. But, I mean, they could go out and do the heroes as well, and people would love them. You know? I mean, I would love to see the Hammer film figures.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Christopher Lee as Dracula.
Oh, that'd be awesome. No, you're right.
You know, Peter Cushing as Van Helsing, as Dr. Frankenstein. I mean, those would be really done nice. But the whole idea is would people buy them? You know, because you're in a new generation of collectors, us old people.
Did we ever get a Bram Stoker's Dracula with what's his name from the 90s?
Yes, you did. But it wasn't him. It was him as the werewolf, wasn't it? It was a box set.
Okay.
It was him as the rat thing. Remember remember when he felt all the rats?
Was it McFarlane? Did McFarlane do it?
That I don't know. I think it was McFarlane.
Okay.
I think it was McFarlane, but they never did one of him in the armor. or one of the old emperor-looking.
Where his hair is puffed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that sell? Wouldn't I mean, that movie was iconic. That movie is a cult classic. You don't. I
yes, definitely.
Who's the? I can't think of the actors. Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman. Yeah, dude, he played multiple roles. Yeah, why don't we do stuff like that? Yeah, I don't. They keep going after Fred. I don't understand. They keep hitting Freddy. You know, it's Freddy in the TV, Freddy in the living room, Fred. I go, why not? Why not take a chance? Why not look at Bram Stoker's Dracula?
But you know what it is? I think because the licenses are cheap.
Yeah.
And I think they've had the licensing for so long that it's just like a give me. And I think that's what it is when you go for Freddy and Jason. You know, it's just a give me. And I think those that we want to see, like you said, the Bram Stoker's Dracula, even one-off movies where the creature looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
You would just want, but I mean. Would people buy them? Yes, especially if they were packaged nice, like you said, the Bram Stoker's. If you could open it up and it could be like the tower and the figures placed in its home,
it'd be awesome. Yeah,
people would love that, especially if you did the Vampire Brides.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be phenomenal.
Well. You brought up one film that and just never crossed. It never crossed my mind was the Brendan Fraser Mummy.
Yes.
We never got him as we never got the Mummy from that film. I go, that'd be awesome.
Oh, not it. Well, yes, you did. They did do him. Mezco did him.
Oh, Mezco did do him. Okay.
It was in the same line as the Killer Clowns that they did. It was the line that they did there. They also did. They were the ones that did the Benicio del Toro Wolfman as well.
Okay.
And they did do Emotep, but it didn't look good.
Yeah.
It didn't look good. It really didn't look good. You know, but wouldn't you want to have a Rick O'Connell on your shelf?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Especially if you can get the likeness down. Yeah, I mean, it would be great.
Yeah.
You know, him with the weapons. Like I said, Emotep. Even the girl, the mummified Anaxumanun. Oh, man, she would be cool. I mean, there's stuff out there for horror to keep people going.
Yeah.
You know, to keep people going, there's stuff out there.
I understand that there's collectors out there that love horror. I'm very iffy about horror right now. My argument with you, and I've said this for a while, it's that it's a very competitive landscape, and the superheroes are in control right now. And I understand, and I think it's brave of a toy company to go and do a horror figure. And I understand why they play it safe. Well, let's just do another Jason figure, and let's do another Freddy figure, because that's what sells. But looking into what McFarlane wants to do, and if he does pull this off, if he's able to bring that type of love and dedication as to what he had back in the 90s and in the late 90s into the movie Maniacs, into today's world, he may stand a chance. But again,
But you have to compete with NECA.
But you have to compete with NECA, yeah.
You have to have articulation. You gotta have paint. You gotta have look. And as we just recently seen with the Star Trek figures, it's not really hitting on mark.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
And if you notice another thing, that if you've noticed, back in the day, McFarlane did a line of figures. So he'd have a 6-figure assortment. You've brought up the whole idea with the Hasbro. You know, we've seen the reveals this week of the Hasbro figures.
Yep.
You know, you're getting 6 to 7 figures per assortment. Where, see, NECA, you're getting maybe, one a month?
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, is it cool? Yes, because you're only getting a figure once a month. Where when you're spending over $100 to try to get the whole wave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, that's horror figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, horror figures have toned down, where you're only getting 1 or 2 figures maybe a month. You know what I'm saying? Where with those superhero figures, they're just throwing it down your throat, and eventually it's going to stop. I mean, I hate to tell you this. Eventually, it's going to.
Well, everything comes to an end. The question is when, and I honestly think the superhero universe, the MCU, and even DC, I think it's going to be here for a while. It's
never going to be replaced with horror. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
It'll never be replaced with horror, but it'll go to that point where it gets toned down.
Yeah.
Where it gets toned down, where it's not as much.
Yeah.
You know, where you're only going to get certain things, and that's basically what it's going to go.
Yeah.
You know.
It's interesting. I wish McFarlane the best if he's able to pull it off. Again, if anything, it shouldn't be NECA, it should be McFarlane, but he made some mistakes in the past, and he's trying to play catch up, and good luck, I guess is what I can tell him.
Yeah, and as long as you're not doing your vision things, once you start into your weird scopic visions, I don't want to see something that you had when you were tripping on acid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do something generally scary. Do something where you're like, ooh, that would be really,
Yeah.
Well,
that's right. You're referring to the Twisted Theater. Yeah, that Twisted Theater. Oh my God, that was some S&M. Yeah, that was some sadomat. That was some hardcore stuff there that he was doing. Yeah, that
but
was
you did hear one of the reveals for NECA is they're releasing an Ultimate Pinhead, and I know you like Hellraiser.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I do.
Year.
I do like Pinhead from Hellraiser. I really do. Yeah.
So you're going to get an ultimate version of that for next year, so that'll be cool.
That'll be really neat. That'll be really, really cool. All right, this is it. It's coming into an end here. John, as always, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Folks, always a pleasure being on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for listening, guys. Like, subscribe, leave your comments below. Any last words, John?
Yeah, happy Halloween. Everyone be safe out there, and just have a good Halloween.
Absolutely. And if you see a razor in your apple, don't bite too hard.